What's up guys, it's your boy back at it again with another maths video. In today's video we're going to be continuing the idea of gradients, and again we're going to be using Desmos.com, which is a calculator website and a graphing website. Credit to Desmos because this video is possible because of Desmos.com. Anyways, today we're going to be continuing the idea of gradients. Now in my last video I explained what the gradient of a graph really means. If you haven't watched that video, please do go and watch that video because these videos are in sequence and it's important that you watch them in the order that I upload them, in the order that I name them, with the titling and everything. Anyways, today we're going to be looking at the gradients of curves. Now, as I mentioned in my previous video, and as you already know, when you have a straight line, the gradient is constant. For example, let's look at the line y is equal to 2x. The gradient is the same everywhere. But the second you have a curve, okay, the second you have a curve which is not a straight line, the gradient is going to change. In other words, we don't say what's the gradient of this curve, but what we say is what's the gradient of the curve at this particular point. The important thing that you have to understand about curves is at every single point along a curve, the gradient at that point is changing. The gradient here is 0, the gradient here is something else, the gradient here is something else, the gradient there is something else, the gradient there is something else. So unlike with a straight line, a curve, its gradient changes. So how do we actually find the gradient of a point on a curve? If we want to find the gradient of a point on this curve, what we're simply going to do is we're going to draw a tangent at this point, and then the gradient of that tangent is the gradient of the curve at that point. If we want to find the gradient over here, we're simply going to draw a tangent there, and the gradient of that tangent is going to be the gradient at that point. Let's say I draw the curve x to the power negative 1, okay? Y is equal to x to the power negative 1. And let's say I want to find the gradient at this point. What am I going to do? I'm going to draw a tangent at this point, and the gradient of that tangent is the gradient of that curve. Now I've already worked this out. The tangent I would need to draw is the line y is equal to 2 minus x. Okay? There we go. If I draw the line y is equal to 2 minus x, that line is a tangent at this point, and the gradient of that tangent is negative 1. So the gradient at this point on the line y is equal to x to the power negative 1 is actually 1. Now you might be asking, how did I get this tangent? I already worked this out. So in this video I just want to show you the idea of finding gradients. So I get my tangent and then I draw it there, and then the gradient of the tangent in this case is negative 1, so the gradient at that point is negative 1. Okay? What about the graph y is equal to x to the power negative 2? And let's say I want to find the gradient at the point negative 1, 1. Negative 1, 1. I want to find the gradient there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to draw a tangent there. And this is my tangent. And the gradient of that tangent is 2, so the gradient at that point on the curve is 2. Let's say I have the curve y is equal to x to the power 4. Let's say I want to find the gradient at the point when x is 0.5. Well, I draw the tangent there, in this case, which is y is equal to 0.5x minus 0.1875. That's the straight line I draw. And this is my tangent, and the gradient of that tangent is 0.5, so the gradient at that point on the curve is 0.5. So what do we do when we want to find the gradient of any point on any curve without sketching the curve and then sketching a tangent? Well, this is what calculus is all about, and we are going to introduce something that is known as differentiation. Differentiation, let me write that down. Differentiation. Okay? Differentiation. Did I spell this correctly? Okay, differentiation. Differentiation is a technique that we are going to use to find the gradients of points on curves without actually drawing the curves and drawing the tangents, by simply calculating the gradient. Anyway guys, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, share the video, share the channel, spread news about the channel. Until next time, thank you.